Start that coughing. You let me out. That's what I got some. Ladies and gentlemen, I will call to session the regular meeting of the Ascension Parish Council Tuesday, August 19th. Our invocation tonight will be led by Dr. Ben Johnson of World Ministries. Dr. Johnson, stand up, please.
My heads in the word of prayer. The wise man Solomon once said, without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counsels, they are established. Our Father, our God, our sustainer and our provider, we thank you for this council meeting on today. We pray for your wisdom, your knowledge, and understanding. We pray for the unity in this city and in this parish. We pray for our city and elect officials that this meeting will be great for the benefit and the welfare of this city. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank God. Amen and amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Our pledge tonight will be led by the 2008 Ascension Parish Boys USSA World Series champions. You'll come up front, please. Is this? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Suzanne, do I have any cards? Roll call, Ms. Suzanne. Make note that Councilman Adrian Thompson, Councilman Dennis Cullen, and Councilman Oliver Joseph are absent. Item 3, we do not have any chair additions. On our item 4, public comment period. Anyone wishing to talk on any item on the agenda, sign up with Ms. Suzanne. You'll be allowed 3 minutes. Please make note that Councilman Joseph has arrived. Item 5 on our presentations. A, proclamation the Elaine Marchand Edmondson Day. Miss Amy.
State of Louisiana proclamation to proclaim September 9th, 2008, Elaine Marchand Edmondson Day in Ascension Parish. Elaine Marchand Edmondson is a lifelong resident of Duplessis, Louisiana and Ascension Parish, who will on September 9th, 2008, celebrate her 100th birthday. She taught school in Ascension Parish school system for 38 years at Lake Elementary, 1932 to 40, at Sanamo Elementary, 1940 to 1946, and at Gonzales Elementary, 1946 to 1970. And during her 38 years of teaching, she directly influenced the lives of approximately 1,000 Ascension Parish children. and she has contributed to the community as a member of the Catholic Daughters for 75 years. She has been invited to contribute to the written histories of St. John Church, the City of Gonzales, and to the Ascension Parish School Board. And she is the oldest living 4-H member in the state, being recognized by them last month during their celebration of 4-H's 100th birthday. And throughout her years, she has opened her heart, her home, and her finances to contribute to countless children and families in this parish. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed, I, Tommy Martinez, President of Ascension Parish, State of Louisiana, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereupon proclaim September 9th, 2008, as Elaine Marchand Edmonston Day in Ascension Parish.
Thank you.
You want to say something to all these children that you taught?
All of these years that I have worked for the public and being a school teacher, I'm so happy to see all of my people that are here tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh.
Let's take a picture. You ready? All right, 1, 2, 3. Grab one more, please.
No.
All right. There you go. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Next, we have certificates of achievement to our Ascension Parish All-Star team. I'd like to announce Mr. E.J. Nickens in the back of the room, school board member, has a grandson playing on his team. So, come forward, please.
Coach Peyton Bickham.
Say what it says. The Parish of Ascension is proud to present the certificate to the 2008 Parish All-Star Team in recognition of the outstanding achievement of 2008 USS SA World Series champion. Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
And Coach Rodney Sheets. Coach Justin Shafishi. Coach Jeff Tanner. Nicholas Bickham. Reed Sheets. Madison Dickens. Austin Tanner. Austin Tanner. I didn't say that. Jonathan Teddy. Shafisi. Dylan Alford. Jacob Stuntz. Jacoby Coleman. Dylan Olivier. y'all kind of gather behind them so we can get a picture of everybody? Can y'all just squeeze in really tight? Try to turn to your sides a little bit. Come on, big team. All right, let's make sure I can see everybody's smiling faces. If you can't see me, I can't see you. Just remember that. Ready? All right, one more, please. 1, 2, 3. All right, wonderful. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Go back home.
Councilman, our St. Teresa Parochial Teachers of the Year will be presented in September. When we made this, put this on the agenda, they forgot that they had open house tonight, so it'll be done in September. Item 6, Parish President Report. Mr. President, is the Capital Area Human Service here yet, or?
No, sir. I'd like to.
Okay, so we'll wait when they
Yes.
come. When they do show, we will go back and pick them up.
That'll
All
be
right.
fine.
Discussion of fire rebate.
Yes, we had received a letter from the city of Dallas, and there were a lot of questions about that. And I talked to Mr. Johnson, so I'm going to yield the floor to him on the fire rebate and what progress and how this all came about.
The District 3 and District 1 approached us to recertify their population a while back, which we did. Their intention was to basically, with the insurance rebate money, to pick up their share of the funds. The state had frozen the population of the parish, and when this went through, they didn't update that. We do have a possible fix. We're going to start some meetings with the different districts and departments and get with legal counsel, Ms. Lindsay, to try to work out something that may be a little bit more equal to everybody, or make it to where it doesn't impact the departments that were impacted as bad as they were, and see if we can come to some common ground. We won't be able to take advantage, from my understanding of it, of the population increase until after the 2010 census, which everybody should see a rise in their insurance rebate money at that time. So that's basically where we stand.
And basically, the population was frozen to pre-Katrina figures. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And when you went out and did an assessment of the other districts without doing the cities, that's how it came about.
That's where it got skewed. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Councilman Schicksnyder.
Thank you. Well, there was a city and some other areas also that were at a disadvantage. I think there were very good intentions to try to do the right thing. I know Ben and I had talked about it before, and everybody was under the belief that the populations would be increased and everything, and the state had frozen it. Because of that, I mean, I'd like to see a look into the possibility of going back to what it was previously. And I don't know if we can do that, but, you know, until the 2010, and they do allow us to increase in the populations. But if we could research that and see what we can do, at least everybody will know what they have.
And that's part of what we're going to talk about when we meet, is to see exactly what's the path forward for the next couple of years. We can't do anything about it this year, and it'll be after the first of the year before we can do anything as far as certifying any more populations, from what I'm understanding right now. And once we do that, it'll affect the rebate money for 09 and 2010. And then, of course, in 2011, after the census figure should be in there, and that's when that money should be updated at that time.
Okay. When will we get an update on that?
I'll hopefully be able to contact those chiefs and try to set something up with the different districts and have a meeting within the next couple of weeks. As far as what we're going to, or the solution to come up with, or as far as the impact, it's nothing. There's no impact until after till next year that we can do anything with it. It's basically kind of over with, but we'll try to get something back to you as soon as we can.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay, so Mr. President, we will come back to item A. On our consent agenda, Councilman, I will be pulling item 7V. And we need a motion for our consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Lambert,
Second.
second by Councilman Lohr. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Yes, ma'am. Seven FU. Oh, okay, okay. Page 2 on agenda. Councilman, I had a speaker on item 7U, Mr. Philip Garrett.
Excuse me. Thank you, Councilman. I was somewhat confused about the lineup of this. Can someone, Mr. Bell, can you tell me the exact nature of this item?
Okay, Mr. Cedric Grant. Roddy Road report.
I would be glad
Mr.
to do
Bob
that.
Turner.
Yes.
Okay.
Item U is the Roddy Road report. We gave a report to the Transportation Committee, and it's in regard to possible improvements of Roddy Road between 61 and 429. What was approved and recommended to the council is striping that section of road at this time for a cost of about $3,500, and then directing the Department of Public Works to come back to the Transportation Department with some possible improvements that could be done to fill in the ditches along that section of the road.
Okay, I understand that that's what it is, and I'm prepared to make my statements. I wanted to point out to the council that in 2001, a road widening program was set up by the council, and Roddy Road was one of the sections of that. We proceeded to buy property on Roddy Road, and we bought a good bit of it. Now, but we had 7 different times on this project that we were stopped and started, and as I understand now, it is still stopped. But the question came up of the cheapest way, I'm no engineer, to build some shoulders. And as a right-of-way expert, I know that the plans that GSA built had more than enough right-of-way. And if we were allowed to continue buying the other parcels, you could rehabilitate the shoulders, much like many of the poorer parishes do, by simply moving the ditch by taking dirt and pushing it in, even if you had to get a temporary construction servitude in addition to the additional right-of-way. It's not as simple as I'm making it seem, because you have utilities in some cases to relocate, but all of this would not be lost when you finally widen it. So you wouldn't widen the road as much as you would move the ditches out, and where you had, I think there's some mobile homes, there could be temporary culverts there or some other thing, or you could go ahead and relocate them. They're not real expensive to do, but the plans are already there, and the relocation of utilities isn't that great. It isn't the best way to do. You're not re-widening the road, but all over the country, especially in Louisiana, Texas, and many other places where they're poorer, they just simply move dirt in for a substantial shoulder, and the ditch is placed out where it will be when the final work is done. And I suggest that, and as far as right-of-way being too hard to get, we only had 9% of the people that were not in favor of it. Only a couple said they were definitely against it. But when you talk about how hard it is to get right-of-way, we passed in 1999 a special law that had been trying to be passed for 10 years previously to allow this parish to use what's called quick take. And there's another legal name for it that Ms. Mandy could tell you. But anyway, it allows you to go in and within 2 months acquire the property, and they have a year to go to court for additional monies. But those plans that are already there should suffice. It doesn't
Okay,
take
sir.
a lot of
Thank you.
engineering.
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
suggesting that that be looked at thoroughly. Thank you.
We'll move to item 8, Strategic Planning Committee, Chairman Ken Shakespeare.
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, before we go to public,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Parish President, do we have any monies in that fund to move forward with what are you talking about right now?
Roddy Road, we are discussing it. We meet with some officials this week from DOTD. They came up with an idea that it's been tested by Louisiana, I guess, Research Institute that works for DOTD. Basically, what you do is put a grid in a ditch, and you would take tires, and you take the tires, and they actually become your culvert. You tie them together, and then you take, and you would put shredded tires on top, and then you'd put limestone on top of that, and it seems to work. And the thing that at the next Transportation Committee meeting, I think Mr. Grant's going to meet with Mr. Bob, and they're going to look at maybe putting together a cost analysis on that to see if that's something that we can do, and if it works. We got a lot of old tires at the barn that we pay $2 to get rid of, and I'm sure we could buy shredded tires reasonably cheap. So they've done some test areas on that, but I think they would be willing to certainly work with us and see if that, for that particular road, we could actually use it as a test site to do that. So maybe something that we can look at. So that's one thing that we looked at. Mr. Bob's going to give us some cost estimates again on just putting culverts in. So we're going to have some options to give to the Transportation Committee.
Thank you very much. Strategic Planning Committee, the first item that we have, Part A, introduction of an ordinance to consider the ordinance to establish an engineer selection board, provide for the membership of the board, and define the purposes and duties of the board. And that was sent as a recommendation unanimously from Strategic Planning.
Okay.
That's the introduction.
Do we have a motion?
Second. I'll move.
Motion by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Johnson. Any discussion? Councilman Lambert?
Yeah, Mr. Shakespeare, is this for engineering for planning and zoning, or what is this engineer? Just an overall engineering process?
This is engineers that are,
Throughout the parish.
according to the ordinance, that we were given anything over $50,000, it would go through that process of selection, so
Okay.
that it would come into account. And I think, Mr. Cedric, if you would like to give a brief overview of what we're trying to do. We're trying to, as much as possible, make this go to the fairest bidder.
Yes, sir. This mirrors selection processes throughout the country and in the region. And basically what it allows for is a competitive selection process for engineering consultants. We would have a staff committee and some outside experts sit on that committee and review requests for proposals that would be submitted for each engineering assignment. The final selection would be brought to this council for selection.
And that would be a voluntary board, for as the outside consultants?
Basically, the outside members would be members from universities, either LSU or
Okay.
Southern, on a rotating basis, and members of the Engineering Council, American Society of Engineers. And we're going to ask the district engineer for DOTD to sit on it. But other than that, it'd be staff.
Thank you, Mr. Cedric.
Mr. Cedric,
Yes.
just as a point of clarification, that what we talked about in strategic planning is that the members of that board, would they be residents of Ascension Parish?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And that board's recommendations ultimately will come to the parish
To the parish
council
council, yes, sir.
for approval.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Lambert?
Yeah, Mr. Cedric, I appreciate you bringing this forward. I would like to see the committees that we have set up. Most of this, any project coming through the parish, I'd like them to go through the committees first and, you know, the chairman would work with the membership that you're trying to put together here.
In relation to the initial review of the request for proposal?
Right, I'd
In the
like
instance of a transportation project, it would come to transportation.
utilities,
Yes,
come from utilities, recreation, you know, and so forth.
Okay,
I'd like to see that added.
that's no problem.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Ordinance introduced. Item B,
Okay. Item B is introduction of ordinance to consider an ordinance to establish professional service competitive consultant selecting process, provide for the membership of the selecting committee, and define the purposes and duties of the committee. And basically what we're doing is when we're having consultants that are over $50,000, we're doing the same process with obviously different people. Mr. Grant?
Yes, sir. In this committee, we're basically mimicking the engineering selection process, but the committee selection composition is different primarily because we're talking about all non-engineering selections. They're not as many as they are of engineers, but we felt the need for a similar process of competitive selection over $50,000. In this particular instance, the committee would be chaired by the Chief Administrative Officer, and the permanent members would be the CFO and the in-house counsel. We would have an outside expert in that particular field and the department head that selection was effective.
I'd like to make that
okay,
motion.
sir. Have a motion by Councilman Kluart.
Second.
Second by Councilman Lohr. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance introduced. Item C, discussion of junk car ordinance.
Yes, and we put this up here just so it could be, we had a discussion in strategic planning. It's something that has been long and ongoing, something that we've tweaked back and forth. However, we've yet to find an enforcement mechanism, and we are concurrently working on Parish Adjudication Bureau, which would basically be a parish court that you would take parish ordinances to, and that would be our enforcement mechanism, and we're working on that process. And so we want to put this out today for councilmen to take a look at. If there's any concerns or anything like that, we're going to go to the next strategic planning meeting, make any changes and vote on it to come to the next council meeting whenever possible after the next strategic planning as an introduction of an ordinance. And it will go into effect only upon the creation of a parish adjudication bureau so that we can enforce whatever we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question.
Councilman Kluart?
Yeah, I just want to expand on that. On Kent, is that this also covers white goods,
Right.
refrigerators, stuff like that. And on the I think this is what had just passed through our state is Act 294, the act that allows for the use of an administrative court for the process enforcement of litter ordinances. And is that's what we're working on as far as getting set up of an adjudication process?
The adjudication bureau, it takes into account all ordinances that's from the parish, and it gives us an enforcement mechanism. One of our, as we said earlier, our biggest problem is that we have ordinances on the books, and we've just been having trouble enforcing them, and did not have a method to enforce them. And so this gives us a method to do that, and it's very fair and something that we can move forward with. And everyone, all the people would be protected. It's a specific way to go through. St. Tammany's working with it now, and Ms. Manda recommended it. It works very well there from all the information that I've seen. So.
Okay, sir. Any more discussion? Okay, sir. We'll move to item D, a resolution to endorse the timetable for a parish-wide recycling program.
All right. We were discussing solid waste, and again, Mr. Grant has assisted us, Chief Administrative Officer, into we were trying to implement something with recycling. People are trying to do that now, and we're going to incorporate basically all solid waste with a timetable. And Mr. Grant, if you could lead us into that. And this is a resolution. This is something that gives us goals that we're looking to try to meet. Gives us a timetable so that we can move forward. Everybody knows where we're trying to head. If we don't meet the timetables, we're going to report on it and let everyone know what's happening, where we stand, and why we didn't meet the timetables, and then try to move forward.
So basically, at the request of strategic planning, I looked at the possibility of providing recycling in the parish. And comprehensive recycling without solid waste collection is kind of, really kind of caught before the horse. So basically looking at how we would do that, I put together about a 1 and 3 month timeline of the process that we would need to go through. And basically what it calls for is taking the rest of the year to do some best practices research and make sure that we're kind of on the cutting edge of this. I mean, we have an opportunity here because we haven't done anything to do it really well. So we'll spend that time developing best practices research. At each step in this process, I plan to come back to strategic planning to kind of get a gut check as where we are and before we move forward. Then we'll develop solid waste concepts in the first quarter of 09, prepare an RFQ to see the interest if we go that step further from March to June, evaluate that RFQ, and then see if there's a need to issue an RFP from June to September, solicit the RFP in the last quarter of 09 with the intent that if we do go forward that we would move into it in January of 2010. It's a pretty complicated process if we want to do it well. I really think we have some opportunity here to do this and do it quite well. So I think we just need to take our time and be careful about it and work with the council through the process to make sure that we're doing what the people want. And I think if we do that, we'll have a successful program.
Mr. Grant, for the benefit of folks out there, could you please explain the RFQs and RFPs? So that
talking a little fast. The RFQ process is basically a request for qualifications to see if companies are interested in doing it. I think we need to kind of determine the level of interest in the providers. The RFP process then would be to the people that have responded and been validated in their interest to do a detailed proposal to the parish saying what they would do, how much they would do it for, when they would do it, and on what timeline, and what kind of contractual obligation they would enter into with the parish. So it's a two-tiered process. It allows us to evaluate the proposals at each tier and see that we're getting quality in the provision of service that we're requesting.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. We appreciate it.
Councilman Lambert, Todd Lambert.
Yeah, Mr. Grant, talking about the solid waste, in order to, I guess, put it all into one, if you're going to put it out to one company, we probably have 4 companies here in our parish. What would happen to the other 3?
That's why my interest in doing an RFQ, to see what the level of interest is and see how we would tier this at every step.
All 3 or 4 are within the parish, they're not out of parish, so their business here is in Ascension Parish. Yes, it's not in our surrounding parishes, so, they would be affected by, if we do this, their business would be cut off,
And Councilman, that's how you write the RFP. I mean, if you want significant local participation, that's what you indicate that you're requesting. Okay.
But they're all local, is what I'm saying.
Yes, and I'm sure from all I've heard that they would want that participation to continue. Okay. We could tier it in relation to regions. We could do it in any way we want, and that's why I want to go through the process of understanding what it is we're trying to provide before we jump in and just say we'd get rid of anything, because I think we do have good service, and we need to make sure that it's maintained.
And it's competitive too. So
yes,
that's one thing I want to keep. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Grant, the time frame that you're allotting yourself, you would have enough time to get this?
It's an aggressive timeline on purpose, in the sense that I think that at each step in this process we can do a consensus of where we are. I mean, if we'll decide, okay, we've learned this. Do we need more time to do this or not? If everybody's satisfied where we are at that time, we move and we keep moving. I mean, I've never seen any process that if you didn't give it some drop dead, you lost some time and effort. So I'm suggesting that we move through 09 through this process and decide once and for all how we're going to do this, and then come to a collective decision and move forward.
Okay, so Councilman Clewart?
Yeah, I'd just like to bring out that, and Councilman Shakespeare probably would also, that we, within discussions, it was brought up about the local firms that service the local areas, and that the possibility of some kind of organization is going to be down the road, and it may include the fact that more than one, for different areas, You know, servicing different companies, servicing different areas, or bidding on the ability to serve that area.
Councilman Lower.
Just wanted to express my appreciation to Councilman Shake Snyder and the rest of the Strategic Planning Committee, as well as Mr. Grant, for basically committing the parish to that this is an important thing. We're gonna figure out the details and the strategy, but we're aggressive about doing this, and we're gonna improve and provide this sort of service for our citizens one day. So thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Lower,
I'll second.
second by Councilman Shakes. Now, any discussion? Any objection? Resolution passes. Excuse me.
That's all for my reports.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Before we get into our Finance Committee section, Mr. President, is your, are they here yet? Okay, sir. Finance Committee, item 9, Chairman Chris Lower. Resolution ordering and calling a special election to be. Before we get to this, I've got 6 speakers. Let me call my speakers up. Miss Catherine?
Yes. Let people know what the resolution is. Say what it is.
A resolution, Ms. Catherine, I'll read this before you start. It's ordering and calling a special election to be held in the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, to authorize the levy and collection for a period of 20 years of a 1/8 cent sales and use tax, therein for the purpose of the purchase and maintenance of and improvements to the Lamar Dixon Expo Center, making application to the State Bond Commission, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, thank you. In a recent poll, the most likely tax to pass was a 1/2 cent sales tax related to road improvements. This was the people's, or is the people's, priority. You are making the purchase of Lamar your priority with this tax proposal. A decision must be made by next June as the 4-year lease ends. Without a dedicated tax, there's no reoccurring revenue to purchase, renovate, and operate and maintain Lamar. 2 weeks ago, President Martinez suggested a 20-year 3-mill property tax, which he favors and is projected to bring in about $41 million. I'm sure he has bent a few ears over the past few days. We will see just how many when it comes time to vote. The property tax is an all-vote and a few pay plan. Many people in the parish will not pay because their property is valued below the taxable rate. Half of those who attend the events at Lamar are from outside the parish, and they do not pay a property tax. The council is considering the resolution tonight with a 20-year 1/8 cent sales tax parish-wide projected to bring in about $52 million. The sales tax is an all-vote and all-pay plan. A sales tax is a fairer tax because those who come from outside the parish and use the facility will pay sales tax when they pump gas, eat, or stay overnight in hotels. Everyone pays with a sales tax, and I do commend you for considering the sales tax over property tax. Either way, the money collected can only be used exclusively for Lamar for 20 years. That's a long time and a lot of money to put into one facility. If you choose to levy a tax or assessment, the charter does require this action to be done by ordinance, will require an introduction, publication in the journal, and a public hearing. And you also must have a 2/3 favorable vote in order to pass this ordinance. You've considered 2 options over the past 2 weeks to purchase Lamar Dixon. You do have a 3rd option, end the lease. Use money in the general fund now being spent to run Lamar Dixon and supplement the recreation budget. Operating expenses for 2007 at Lamar were almost $790,000. Add this to the $150,000 already dedicated to the Oak Grove Community Center, and you could build the plan recently presented by Councilman Lohr. Thank you.
Next we have John Hydell.
Gentlemen, I want to tell you that I'm not against the concept of Lamar Dixon. The thing I'm against mostly is using taxpayer money on a losing proposition. We've lost money for the 3 years we've had it. The only people making money seems to be our management over there. Now, we have inferior roads all over this parish that this money could be spent on. Let's use this 1/8 cent sales tax that you want to put them on the roads. Forget about Lamar Dixon. 1 year ago, we had an economic survey done, and boy, it came out beautiful. Lamar Dixon is bringing all kind of economy into the area. It was not broke down. Who gets all this economy? The city has all the hotels, motels, restaurants, and all the major stores. Let them buy that white elephant. Let's go back and use this money you want for Lamar Dixon to fix these roads where our citizens are being killed and their properties are being damaged. We've got inferior roads all over this parish. Let's use this money for something good. Forget about this Lamar Dixon.
Carrie Brown.
Hi, my name is Carrie Brown. I am asking you to put it in front of the public and let us vote on it. I am for Lamar Dixon. My child for the past 5 years has been involved in Ascension Parish 4-H shooting sports, where I am also a parent, volunteer, and instructor. And we have grown over the last 5 years in massive numbers and have produced a whole string of excellent kids that have gone on and won many titles, many awards. It also creates a place for our youth to meet, have fun, do many things that we used to do. Our children have nowhere else to go. When we were growing up, we had the movies and many other things to go to. Where are our kids going to go today? Lamar Dixon is for our livestock, for our kids, to show our animals and come together. So I am here asking you to please put it forth to the public and let us vote on it. Thank you.
Thad Bella. Mr. Bella?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Little short now.
Yes, sir.
I am a volunteer instructor with Ascension Parish 4-H shooting sports. At this time, Lamar Dixon is the only place that we have to practice with the kids for shooting sports. Also, Lamar Dixon is a perfect spot for alternative recreation, other than football, baseball. Places set up where there could be a public shooting range set up. The ponds are there to have fishing and stuff like that. So this needs to go to the vote of the people. And I appreciate y'all to do that for us.
Jamie Tomplay.
Good evening. I am an employee of the LSU Ag Center Cooperative Extension Service. We are stationed at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center, and I work specifically with the 4-H and Youth Development Program in Ascension Parish. One of our 4-H mottos is to make the best better and then to learn by doing. Before the building of the Lamar Dixon Expo Center here in Ascension Parish, we did not have the availability to be able to do this efficiently in our parish. Because of Lamar Dixon, we are able to host events that accommodate much larger audiences than any other facility here within this parish. Our main goal is to reach as many youth as we can in our parish and to be able to teach them the leadership, citizenship, and life skills that they need to grow and develop into good and productive citizens in our community. And we think that you really cannot put a price tag on our most precious resource, which is our youth. We offer alternative recreation, like Mr. Bello stated earlier, than your general sports. I'm not knocking any of that at all. Some of the main things that we're trying to do is put a new face on 4-H. Myself and my coworker, we've only been here for a year, but we're trying to provide extracurricular activities to give these youth opportunities to do things after school so that they're not getting in trouble. We've seen significant growth within the past year in our shooting sports program, our junior leaders, which is teen leaders within the parish. We have a science, engineering, and technology club, which is just getting a kickstart and is really doing great here in this parish. They're focused on educational activities in the science, engineering, and technology field. We also have a fashion board going, and then we do a character counts training, which affects students in the 8th grade, in the middle school level, all over the parish, not just 4-H members. These 8th graders come in. We usually train about 300, but we have the capacity to do about 5, and they go back into the schools within the parish and teach the 6 pillars of character to these middle school students. In addition to this, we are also able to host advisory meetings and just give these youth something positive, and we feel that the Lamar Dixon Expo Center is a very valuable resource within this parish to be able to meet the needs of the youth in Ascension Parish. And we also urge you to please give the citizens of Ascension Parish the opportunity to decide if they would like to support the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Thank you.
Miss Kayla Hydell.
Hello, I am Kayla Idell, also an employee of the LSU Ag Center. I want to thank you for your continuous support of the LSU Ag Center and the 4-H program. In 2007-2008, we had 990 youth enrolled in 4-H, and they have all utilized the Lamar Dixon facility in one way or another. Not to mention the non-4-H, the community volunteers, specialists, and the list goes on. The facility offers many amazing opportunities. Without the use of Lamar Dixon, the 4-H program will not be where it is today, nor could it get where it's going. Lamar Dixon is what sets us aside from all the other parishes in the state of Louisiana, allowing many more opportunities to enrich the lives of the youth in our community. As a new agent in Ascension Parish, we have many new goals, and without the facility, the program would not be able to reach higher heights. So today, I leave you with a program ready to serve at-risk children, more traditional recreation, and a facility that is local to host activities for both youth and adults. Thank you.
I'll need a motion for the resolution.
I make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert.
Second.
Second by, who was it? I'm sorry. Councilman Valentine. Any discussion? Councilman Lower.
Yes, when we were out campaigning, I think we all knew it and we all heard it. Roads were our biggest issue. The recent poll that Parish President Martinez came back with confirmed that, validated that. I don't want to touch even a fraction of that half-cent sales tax unless it's going to roads. I think that, far and away is our biggest problem, and we can take that half-cent sales tax and come up with a plan for the people that says, if that were to pass, we could bond, $100 million. We could do these specific roads that are our biggest problems, and bring that to the people. Use the half-cent sales tax for roads. That being said, I think Lamar Dixon is in its current state in an unsustainable situation. We need to put this to bed, and I think we need to put it to the people and let them weigh the pros and cons of this issue, and once and for all decide what we're going to do with it. Because I don't want to be arguing about it for another 4 years. It's been going on for too long, for too many years in its current state, losing money that we cannot afford. Therefore, I'm going to offer a substitute motion that we put this on the ballot as a 3 mil property tax. To purchase and maintain Lamar Dixon.
Second. I have a substitute motion by Councilman Lower. I have a second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion?
Discussion, Mr. Chairman.
I got discussion by Councilman Lambert.
Yeah, Ms. Lindsay, to start off with, in front of us we have a resolution for 1/8 cent sales tax. We do not have a 3 mil property tax on the agenda in front of us. So in order to put a substitute motion on there, is that legal?
I believe the 3 mil was raised at Finance Committee.
But it was dropped, and this was approved.
Right.
So what is in front of us today on the agenda is a sales tax.
Right.
Not a 3 mil property tax.
I think you could still offer the substitute motion.
Thank you. This is crucial now, in the past 12 years that we've been on the council, we vote what's on the agenda. If it's not on the agenda, I didn't think we can move on it now. If we have anybody else, maybe administration can answer that,
Well, I mean, this is a resolution, and you can amend resolutions as well as ordinances when they're both introduced and being adopted. So the governing authority you all can vote to amend this.
Okay. Second thing, I guess I got that cleared. The reason we went with the sales tax, and we talked about it at Finance and improved it at Finance, but it came back to us. Now we're going with a resolution to go the opposite way. A lot what Ms. Catherine said, Ms. Guffel come up and said, the sales tax, we got a lot of our businesses, most of over 50% of the people are coming from out of town to use Lamar Dixon. Why not put a sales tax on the ballot? You know, they would help actually pay for it. We put a 3 mil property tax on this ballot. They got half of the people that's going to be paying property taxes never used that facility, never stepped ground on it. And not only that, you know, it's going to put a big hit on our industry, which is 49% of what the revenue is brought into this parish is the industry. A millage is big on the industry. You know, it might not be but $27 a month on a $175,000 home increase, but you go to a business in the industry, it's going to be tremendous. And like I said, 49% of our revenue is coming from the industry and businesses. So, you know, the fairest thing that we came up with at the Finance Committee was to go with the 8th and say, it's actually going to bring more money. It actually bring more money for Lamar Dixon. If we have to put something, I was a little leery about putting a tax on the ballot because the poll that came back was, yes, transportation was #1. We need our roads fixed in the parish. But we're still leaving room, you know, to come back with the transportation, you know, proposition to the people to for transportation. And I'm still for the 1/8, and I think that's the fairest way we can go with it. And let's let the people vote on it. But to come back with and I'm still a little leery about, you know, whether or not we can actually legally vote on a 3 mil property tax with it not on the agenda. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, sir, any more discussion?
Yeah.
Councilman Kluart.
Kent.
Councilman Shake Snyder.
Well, a couple things. This is exactly what happened in the Finance Committee meeting. We had 3 mil property tax, and I wasn't able to make that meeting. I was out of town working on that, and there was a substitute motion to change that to a 1/8 cent sales tax. So I mean that's something we do all the time is make amendments. So that's something that's
at a committee.
That's normal in what we do. We can either pass it, amend it, or shoot it down. It is a resolution, not an ordinance that we're putting forward. I'm a firm believer. We've been here, and I proposed a 1/8 cent sales tax 4 years ago because I think Lamar Dixon is something that we need to put to bed. Since that time, we've gone to the point that roads have been such an important issue that I really feel the way Councilman Lord does is that we cannot, I feel very uncomfortable taking any amount of possible monies from a 1/2 cent sales tax for people in this parish without big needs of roads, and we need to put that for the people to decide what they want to do with the roads. It's not for Kent Shakes not to decide, in my opinion, or anyone else, for the people of Ascension Parish. And I think down the line, when we set up a proper mechanism and a plan for roads, we can put that for the people, and we'll have upwards of a 1/2 cent sales tax so we can fund our roads adequately and try to get some safety in this parish. So Lamar Dixon is a quality of life issue, whether you agree with Lamar Dixon or you don't, whether you agree with his recreation or not. It's a quality of life issue. Any amount of funding to that magnitude, the people of this parish deserve a right to vote on it, regardless of how we feel. And so, since it's a quality of life issue, I think it ought to be brought forth with, you know, with property tax, and let the people decide. And if people decide they want to have it, we'll move forward. There's 300 acres. By all indications, it's the value is there. They can do with it what you would like. There's also sewage and water there. So the parish has some opportunities to do some things with it, and the funding would be enough that you could do improvements that you would cut down on the amount of monies that would be lost, or you would be able to make it where it was actually turning over monies. That remains to be seen. That's something that can be done, and only can be done once you own the property. So, but the people have to decide that also. So with that in mind, I want to put it out there for the people to decide on a 3 mil property tax. And if they want it, fantastic, we'll move forward. If they don't, we're going to lay it to bed and we'll move forward with something else. and whatever other quality of life issue the people of the parish want to have. We'll put it up here. That's what it's for.
Okay.
So
Thank you. Councilman Kluart.
Yeah, I'd just like, express my encouragement for Lamar Dixon. It's a great facility. It has a lot of potential. It's a diamond in the rough. Some of the things that are going on there are great. I think there's a lot more opportunity there. I think in May of 2005, this council looked at Lamar Dixon and decided it was worth trying to do something with. And at that time, they had intentions to go quickly to the folks of the parish to see if they wanted to own it. Since then, I'm sure the arguments went back and forth plenty of times. But now we got an opportunity. I agree with Councilman Shakespeare and Councilman Lohr on the half-cent. That half-cent's out there, that's our opportunity to really get something done with our roads. As far as the millage, I understand the conversation that some folks will not pay much on the millage. Some large businesses and industry may pay a decent amount. We have Lamar Dixon is not only a recreation facility. It houses the YMCA, the 4-H, and all the events that it's built for. Has potential for other things. Lamar Dixon is a strong part of the economic development of our area here to bring in, which all the businesses in the area will reap the rewards of Lamar Dixon being up and functioning well. The people that are managing it right now, I'm not satisfied with them, and if anybody sees the meeting, they know that. But I think that the potential for future growth, to nail it down, and get the big items into it, we need to have some ownership. Somebody needs to have some ownership. We know that Lamar Dixon is a one-of-a-kind item in Louisiana. Matter of fact, in the Gulf South region, probably a 3-4 state area. So I'd like to see the people of Ascension Parish decide. 'Cause that's what we do. We represent people. If they don't want it, then so be it. But I'd encourage everybody to vote for it. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yeah, and Mr. Shakespeare's right about, committee. We had a finance committee, which is where we hash out a lot of our issues. And, the resolution we got in front of us is what came out of committee with the sales tax. Finance is committee. This is law when it comes to the council meeting, what we vote on, and I just want to state that, that's what's on the ballot. And, I'm for Lamar Dixon. That's why I'm the one made the motion to put this 1/8 on the ballot. So, and I think it's still yet the fairest way to go. I'm sorry. We're hurting a lot of people. A lot of people had hard times with large homes, and especially in the northern part of the parish, we got homes anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000. They're going to be hit pretty hard with it, not counting what other taxes are going to be needed in the near future. So we're talking about the millage, we're talking about sales tax. We're going to be adding both of them, and that's a big hit to our parish. So, I say we'd be better off the fair way with the sales tax.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Valentine.
Thank you, Chairman Bell. I guess the biggest thing that kind of disturbs me is back and forth with this situation, us trying to decide what we want to do. Councilman Joseph pointed out something last week about the fact that it's $40 million for one facility. And he's right. It's $40 million for one facility, and it's going to grow. I mean, one thing about our parish at the present time, we are 12 to 14% ahead of last year's sales tax, which was a record sales tax last year. We had the assessor here not long ago telling us we're going to have a windfall in property tax because of reassessment, which pretty much goes across the board. I find it somewhat disturbing that everybody is, wow, we're going to go for a 1/2 cent sales tax. I'm not sure we need a whole 1/2 cent sales tax to improve our roads. But yet we're not, we're going to classify that 1/2 cent sales tax as taboo, and we're not going to touch it. Yet we're going to tax half of the people in this parish that only use Lamar Dixon, and the people that only have property, and not the people that use it. because the economic study that was done by LS&U proved that the city is the beneficiary of 85 to 90% of all the benefit of Lamar-Dixon, and that any use by our parish citizens really does not add to the economics of the parish. It's there in writing. And we've had more than one. In fact, Parish President was on TV this afternoon. I happened to catch him on statements about the fact that he's bringing a road tax to the ballot next year. And, you know, one of the wisest things we probably could do would be to put this off until March of next year and put them both on the ballot. He also mentioned the other night that there were some options that he couldn't talk about. I know I had some conversation or some email exchange with Mr. Rome, head of the Lamar-Dixon Foundation, in which he said that Tommy and he were discussing options. I know one of these options, there was a group of people that met at the Chamber of Commerce last night discussing the future of Lamar-Dixon. Joe Ben Welch with the River Parish College, Chamber of Commerce, Industry, and some other education facilities were discussing the future of Lamar-Dixon and an option. You know, I'd like to see that option kind of play out before we rush to taxation. Parish President also talked about the fact that nobody from the council came up with options. We elect one leader in this area, and he's the Parish President. We're the legislative body. Now, in the 4 years that we've been here, I've talked about it. I've said the city of Gonzales. Why haven't we, our administration, why haven't we approached the city of Gonzales or the state for even a cooperative endeavor agreement with the three entities? At the present time, we can't even, with the billions of dollars the state had this past legislation session, we didn't get a dime for Lamar-Dixon, and I don't understand that. It would give us an opportunity if we put it off to beef up the image of the facility. Contrary to what you read, it is a popular facility, but Mr. Lambert may have mentioned it. I mean, the poll came back 49-47. 35% definitely would not vote for Lamar-Dixon, so it's a little iffy, and we put Lamar-Dixon in jeopardy if we put it out there hurriedly without a plan. Anybody can come up with a plan, but people, there are a lot of things that people are going to ask, and I don't have an answer for. One, do we have all it worked out with Lamar-Dixon whether we can use the facility at will? Or are we still going to be tied to Lamar-Dixon Foundation? And will we have to go to them every time we decide to do something? It's a mad rush for taxation, as I said. Even the document that we got tonight was in error this morning. And hopefully, if we have to draw up a new document tonight for the 3 mills, that it gets done properly. End of conversation.
Councilman Lower?
Well, Councilman Valentine, it kind of makes it sound like we're actually levying a tax tonight. We're actually just saying to put it on the ballot, let the people weigh the pros and cons, and let them decide. And I don't necessarily think it's a rush to taxation when it's an issue that's been going on for years. And I think actually the last council, which you chaired, and Councilman Lambert, I think you guys both voted to bring it to the people for a sales tax.
Sure did.
Right. So we're arguing about the method, which there's valid arguments both ways, sales versus millage. But as far as whether it's worth putting to the people or not, you guys voted last year that it was.
Don't have a problem with that.
So I think we should put it out there.
Councilman Schicksnyder.
Real quick, Mr. President, can you explain, tied to the Dixon Foundation, what are our obligations and what are our options?
We went over this. Basically, you have a lease purchase agreement in place. Those are the options that you have. The previous council or administration entered into that agreement. I have a copy of that. I think all of you have been sent a copy. And that's what you could go by. There's no MOU, there's no other understanding that's been signed. Basically, in talking to Ms. Dixon, I mean, she wants a couple oak trees named. She He wants to keep the chapel and named Mr. Honore's behalf, the gentleman that built it. It's a quality of life issue. She's giving it to you offering it to you for $7.5 million. 2 years ago, it appraised for $49 million. It's basically 16 cents on the dollar. In lieu of that, and if you look at the board that is created by that, it's going to be parish president, 2 parish councilmen, or whatever. The makeup is not like the Lamar Dixon Foundation board. This is going to be like a governing board to oversee this. And of course, it says in there what you can do and what you can't do to extent, but it doesn't matter as long as it's a quality of life issue. In bringing this to a close, I mean, it just needs to be done. Ms. Dixon has expressed, and I would tell you, I just kind of hate to see this, her name dragged through the mud or anything else. I mean, she's expressed this, her deal is that if Ascension Parish wants it, she wants Ascension Parish to have it. She does not want it to become a burden on Ascension Parish. So she is ready to put this thing to a close also. I mean, it's 3 years you've had an option to buy. Every year you've had an option. This year you got, on last year's budget, which is not the new council's budget, there's over $600,000 in there to make that option and go ahead and purchase it. So there's another option that you have. You can do that, as Ms. Goppel said. You can cancel it right now if you don't want it. If you're not interested, this is the situation. That's another option. Half cents or the millage, that's an option. You know, or, and Mr. Valentine, I want to just make a correction. I have discussed this with the federal officials when we went to Washington. We looked at it. We brought FEMA here. We brought Mary Landrieu's aide here. I tried to set up meetings with the governor. I did manage to get in touch with a couple of his staff. I talked to Senator Amadei today again and trying to secure state funds. And coming up, I talked to Commissioner of Agriculture to try and do one of these cooperative endowment agreements. He said that Mr. Odom had left him broke, so he didn't have anything, Mr. Strain. You know, if I look at Lamar Dixon, I look at it from a couple aspects. Our OEP operation during Hurricane Katrina, you housed over 2,000 people. You housed just about every kind of animal that they could capture in New Orleans and South Louisiana, and you housed them there. It's not a matter of making money. You know, you have your dreams come true, dances there, they bring in a lot of people, they bring revenue and they give to the different organizations. You got Swamp Pop for cystic fibrosis. All those things add up. But again, it's a quality of life issue. You can't put a value on that. 4-H, you heard what they are going to do there. If you do climatize that central arena and you climatize the 4-H building, which these poor kids, I guess, don't get to utilize the building as much in the summer, I mean, then you'll have an all-year type facility that would bring in money. As you heard from SMG the other day, it probably would break even. This year, and maybe some years even make money. This year you're going to lose about $388,000. That line keeps going down as far as what it's costing the parish. That's not the issue. I mean, you have another option. You can go bond money on you still got capacity on your half-cent sales tax. The problem is we just need to put this to an end. I mean, we're picking up loose strings. We're having to deal with the jail issue. We're dealing again with the road projects from 2001 till now. We're trying to put closure to a lot of things that was started so we can actually start on a new agenda as a new council and administration. So again, it's just a matter, and this is not my job. This is not from an administrator or parish president's job to make that decision. I cannot put it on the ballot. So as your leader, I gave an option. I gave you what I perceived as a plan. When I look back on September of I guess, 2005, when the eighth cent sales tax was introduced. And I think just about everybody that's back on the council voted for that. I can't find any plan attached to that document. So I don't know, maybe you can enlighten me on a plan then that y'all had for Lamar Dixon that we could maybe add to it. Then Mr. Hughes, from what I gather, he vetoed it, and y'all voted to override the veto and wasn't successful. I mean, I kind of wish y'all had settled it back then, okay? But we're getting to a point in time where it's not fair to the facility, it's not fair to the people, to where we made to make that decision, because they cannot book not knowing any certainty, or there's no stability to the building. I mean, he can't book. SMG is at a disadvantage right now. If the parish buys it, then you got stability. He can go out. They can go for long-term contracts. But we need to make that decision before July, because they're in a bind right now. And this is an opportunity to put it on the ballot. Again, it's not up to you or me. I mean, you may not be for it. I mean, you're not a fan of Lamar Dixon. You said that. I've noticed the votes. You've been pretty consistent on it. And Mr. Kluat's a fan, or he'll vote for it. It's pretty much the way the poll showed, that it's pretty much a split vote. But at least it'll be decided. We need to start making decisions around here, and either we're going back and forth even with this. You know, let's just make a decision. Let's get done, put it to rest, and then we can move forward. And that's all I'm asking. As your leader, as you say, and as your administrator, I did come forward with the plan. I can't vote on whatever plan you want. You can have, as I said, we've given you several options as to which way you can go. But that's not my decision, the administration's decision. That's council decision.
Okay.
Councilman Joseph? I'm sorry, go ahead.
One of the things, you know, when we're questioning about what, you know, whether the burden is on the parish and things of that, Lamar Dixon is in the parish. It's our baby.
Yes, indeed.
We need to decide. We don't need to put it off on anybody else or use anybody else's excuses. We've been talking about it a long time. Cabela's was the city of Gonzales' baby. They made a decision. They funded it. It's there. It's a good economic development issue. Lamar Dixon is there. It's an opportunity. It's 300 acres that can be utilized. There's infrastructure there. There's roads there. There's possibility of connecting to future development in that whole area. The possibilities of being very positive for the people in this parish are tremendous. That all depends on a lot of the decisions that's being made down the line. But at least you have an opportunity with water and sewer. I want to caution everybody, we've had some meetings over here about sewer in the last few months, and we've approved millions of dollars of small sewer plants throughout the parish. We have a sewer and water plant that's in existence at Lamar Dixon. In order to try to bring some revenue, so to speak, if we are being looking out for the parish. And right now, water and sewer is located in Gonzales, so that's where the hotels and motels and businesses go. If we can buy Lamar Dixon and we have a funding mechanism, and we look and we have some people that wish to build in the parish instead of the city, we can actually work out something that they would have some sewer and have some water and make it feasible for them to do it, and they'll be spending their taxpayers' money in the parish. But we can't do anything if we don't own it. So, and again, I'm tired of putting it off. We need to decide. People, you guys, people of this parish need to decide. We've talked about it enough ad nauseum, and we have some proposals out here. And as we said earlier, it's just a question of how we want to propose it to the people. So, with that, I'm ready to move on.
Councilman Joseph?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe the president can help me out here, or someone. You know, in this resolution, it said, and provide for other matter in connection therewith. I just want to make sure every cent of this money will be spent in the Lamar Dixon complex only for the next 20 years. not extending any sewage line outside Lamar Dixon, to come back and say, well, we do have this money and we can bond it out and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, because it's in connection with Lamar Dixon. I just want to make sure when the voters go there, every dollar that they're gonna vote on and every dollar they're gonna collect gonna be spent in Lamar Dixon.
I think bond counsel might be able to answer that in wording it.
Could you repeat your question,
Mr. Malcolm, just the last sentence in there, it said, and providing for other matters in connecting therewith. Lamar Dixon. I mean, I just want to make sure every dime here going to be spent on Lamar Dixon property. Not any project connecting with it outside the boundary of the property.
It's the intention of this resolution that the funds would be used for the purpose of Lamar, acquiring, maintaining, expanding, equipping Lamar Dixon, not any other project.
That's all. Thank you.
Any more, Councilman Valentine?
Thank you, Chairman Bell. Just to correct one thing Parish President said. Parish President made the assumption I'm not a fan of Lamar Dixon. That's not entirely true. I think Lamar Dixon is a great facility. I've always said that. In fact, my picture, my wife's picture, hangs on the wall over there when it was opened. I know personally Miss Mary Lee and was essentially raised with Bill. The point is I don't adhere to the Parish of Ascension paying for Lamar Dixon with an undedicated tax. And Mr. Lowe's right. We voted for it. I want it to go before the people. Absolutely. That's what I wanted to do a year ago, and let them decide. We're not arguing here whether we're going to put it on the ballot or not. We're arguing on what form we're going to put it and what we're going to dedicate the taxes to. I mean, I'd like to see some of these taxes dedicated to recreation along with it, so that people could get some more facilities in each one of their districts. But I'm not going to make anything to make it look like I'm going to try to derail the situation. I just prefer a sales tax because everybody shares, even the people that visit and come here and go to Lamar Dixon, which is the majority of the people that visit the place. Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Mr. Valentine, I was just alluding to a statement that you made at the last meeting when you said everybody knows I'm not a fan of Lamar Dixon.
I understand.
But I mean, that's your decision.
Councilman Todd Lambert.
Yeah, one more thing. Talking with Mr. Doug the other day when he presented it for SMG, you know, talking about long-term events. Once we get the long-term events, once we purchase this facility, there's more people going to come from out of town. So therefore, I'm kind of like Mr. George. We're wanting Lamar Dixon, but we're still thinking the fairest way to go with it is the sales tax. Because you're going to have more than 50% coming from out of parish using that facility once we get the long-term events scheduled. Let's be fair to the people of Ascension Parish and do what's right. Thank y'all.
Any more discussion? Councilman Kluwag.
Yeah, I'd just like to wrap up with the fact that let's go to the voters with it. I don't think anybody wants to pay a tax in one way or the other. Right now we got 8.5% sales tax, and we got the property millage. You folks out there are not ignorant. You're great folks. You know that sooner or later we're going to be coming to you. We need road improvements. We're going to need sewer. We're going to need everything. At some point, we're not supported by our state government as we probably should be within our road systems. We're definitely not supported by our federal government as we should be for the amount of taxes we pay towards our federal government. We've got to support ourselves. If we want Lamar Dixon, the people of Ascension Parish want Lamar Dixon, we got to pay for it. And I think that we go to the people, we put it on the ballot. If at some time funds come in, somebody gets off some money, because we got some people working hard right now on that. If funds come in, we exercise that right to take this debt away. I just find that we have taxes out there right now. You have some taxes been on the books for 70 years. Some of them's been on the books for 30 years. Look at your tax breakdown. If you feel like any part of those taxes are not serving you right now, not serving your community, not serving your parish in 2008, let us know. Reallocation, whatever it takes. We either got to pay more taxes, or we got to take the taxes we have and reallocate them to try to serve this community. I think Lamar-Dixon is a great facility, and it's a great economic boost for the parish. Thank you.
I move to close the previous question.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any more discussion? Resolution passes.
No, you got to vote.
No.
You got to vote on the amendment.
I've got a first and I've got a second on the substitute.
You have to vote on the closing. Vote on closing.
Chairman Bell.
Let's vote on the closing then.
That means to close the debate.
Right.
All right.
All in favor?
All in favor? Opposed? I've got a first and I've got a second on the substitute motion. Any more discussion? Any objection? Substitute motion carries.
Objection.
That's the objection.
We have 2 objections, but can I get a roll call, please?
It's not necessary.
Give me a roll call, please.
Councilman Kulak.
4.
Councilman Johnson.
For
Councilman Joseph.
For it.
Councilman Dempsey Lambert.
For.
Councilman Todd Lambert.
No.
Councilman Lohr.
For it.
Councilman Shake Snyder.
For it.
Councilman Valentine.
I object to the millage.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Resolution is passed. We'll move next into our planning and zoning. President Martinez.
Yes, our 2 folks from Capital Area Human Resources
We'll
are
go
here.
back to item 6A, Capital Area Human Services, Town Hall meetings.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jan Kosofsky. I represent Capital Area Human Services District, and we're the governmental entity that provides the mental health, addictive disorders, and developmental disability services to this parish and 6 surrounding parishes. I was recently here, you remember, to talk about underage drinking just a short while ago. I know y'all are probably exhausted and really don't want to hear me speak a whole lot, so I have some handouts that you're welcome to look at or not, but I wanted to come and just really give you 3 messages. The first message is that we are going to hold 2 town hall meetings at the end of September here in your parish. One will be in Donaldsonville, the other one will be in Gonzales. We'll be in Donaldsonville at the parish courthouse on September 25th. And we'll be at the Gonzales Parish Courthouse on September 30th. And there's a flyer that you'll be receiving in a moment that will tell you about what we're looking to do, and that's really to identify areas around adult health and wellness that we may be able to bring into the parish and to add to the services that we're currently doing now, as well as to work along with the parish services that you already do with mental health and addiction and other private providers in the community. So it's not to come in and take people away. It's not necessarily to add a lot of money, but it is to look at what are the services that the state is paying for and bringing in now, and what could we do a better job with. So I welcome you to attend, and any of your constituents as well. The second thing that I wanted to draw your attention to, you have a handout that is a PowerPoint presentation. I'm not going to go over each of those slides, but like I said, 3 points. The first one was the town hall meeting. The second one is a grant that we received from the American Red Cross National Office to look at integrating preventative care with mental health and addictive disorders. And what you'll see on the 3rd bullet point on the 6th slide on the 1st page, basically talks about the fact that we have some funding to add additional social worker time to the parish, and that will not be, your citizens won't be charged to use the social worker. After all, her time is being paid for through a grant, and she will be able to see folks that don't meet the state criteria. And she can work within your public health unit with the nurses that are there and assist folks who have concerns and problems around managing their health issues like diabetes and hypertension and things like that, as well as receive referrals from other folks in the community. And Jamie Rock, who I think y'all know grew up in Donaldsonville, had been the regional manager for the Office of Public Health. She'll be overseeing this project, and she now works with me at Capital Area. So we will be very happy to be placing, actually it's 2 social workers here, and you can see on the table how the time breaks down. I think about 65% of those 2 social workers will be working with folks from your parish. Number 3 is a program that we received funding from the state, and it's to add nurses to our 7 parishes around areas of really first-time moms who are high risk, low income, and you can read a little bit more about that. It's called the Nurse Family Partnership. It's a very well-studied program that was brought about 20 years ago into the Lafayette area, and the legislators believed so much in it that they were able to fund other areas so that they would have access to it. And the last slide on the back page really talks about that, and it shows you the access within your parish in Ascension. Also, it will be a 1.5 nurses, RNs, that will be serving your community. And it's a very intensive program that the new mom starts to work with this RN, and the RN continues to work within that mom's home for up to 2 years after the baby is born, and it has incredible statistics in helping mothers get off of any type of public assistance and really helping the child meet developmental milestones, their well baby and well fitness and not fitness, well baby stuff, and also safety in the home and avoiding child abuse and neglect. It's a very excellent program. So those nurses, that's a permanent program. It's not a grant program, and we'll be working with your medical professionals in the community to help identify these moms, and we will have statistics on all of this. So if you all are ever interested in finding out how things are going, I'll be happy to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me just say I want to thank Jan for this program she's bringing to the health unit. You know, in 2000, the parish took over the health unit. It is a parish health unit, not a state-run health unit. And these programs that they are bringing is going to be no cost to taxpayers except for the officers that we are going to provide, and my staff is going to work fine with her. So we appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Next item 10, Mr. Ricky Compton. Planning and zoning recommendations.
Zoning Review ID 1900.08, located on the west side of LA Highway 431, approximately 1,250 feet north of Lake Settlement Drive, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from conservation to rural from Mr. John E. Savoy to accept or deny. The Zoning Commission recommended denial of this rezoning request due to the fact that this is spot zoning.
Move to accept the planning and zoning.
Motion by Councilman Valentine.
I second.
Second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any objection? Any discussion? Any objection? Motion passes. Item 11, introduction of an ordinance. Ms. Lindsay.
This is the introduction of an ordinance to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from conservation to crossroad commercial for the remainder of Tract 2 for Wallace May, located on the southeast corner of LA Highway 42 and LA Highway 933.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Second by Councilman Kluart. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance introduced.
The next ordinance before you is an introduction of an ordinance to revoke the 15-foot servitude running along the south property line of Lot EB2A of the Duplessis Tract as shown on a map entitled Map Showing Survey of Lot EB2A and .139 acre tract of the Duplessis property located in Section 21, Township 9 South, Range 3 East, Ascension Parish, Louisiana, for Judy Duplessis by Lester A. McLean, Jr.
Motion to introduce.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Randy Cluart. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance introduced. Next section, we'll have our public hearing ordinances. Reading of an ordinance, Ms. Lindsay.
Whereas the property described in Exhibit A, attached hereto and made a part hereof, has become available for purchase. Whereas the property is advantageously located and there is a need and purpose to purchase the property in order to provide adequate office space for parish employees. And whereas the Parish of Ascension hereby desires to purchase the property as per law, the Parish of Ascension hereby ordains to authorize the office of the parish president to purchase the property attached in Exhibit A for a sum not to exceed $210,000. That pursuant to all applicable provisions of law, the office of the parish president is directed and authorized to do whatever is necessary to purchase the property for said purpose.
I need a motion to open public hearing. Councilman Benny Johnson, second by Councilman Cluart. Anyone wish to speak on this ordinance, please come forward.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Councilman Lohr.
Second.
Second by Councilman Benny Johnson. Get a motion to approve the ordinance.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lohr.
Second.
Second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance is approved. Number 16, ma'am.
To revoke the existing 15-foot and 79-foot drainage servitudes affecting tracks A3A1, A3A2, and A3A3. Said track shown on the map entitled Map Showing Subdivision of Tracks 4B2 and A3A into tracks A3A1, A3A2, A3A3, and A3A4, located in Section 26, Township 8 South, Range 2 East, Southeastern Land District, Ascension Parish, Louisiana, for Thornton Harvison and Rhodes Real Estate by C. Mistrick Surveyors, Inc., dated April 8, 2008. Be it ordained by Ascension Parish Council as the governing authority for the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, in lawful session, hereby revokes the drainage servitude designated as the existing 15-foot drainage servitudes located on tracks A3, A1, A3, A2, and A3, A3, and the 79-foot drainage servitude located on tract A3, A3, as shown on the map entitled Drainage Servitude Revocation by Fred J. Cunningham, P.E.P.L.S., dated 7/17/08, attached hereto and made a part hereof as Exhibit A, conditioned upon the dedication of the drainage servitude designated as the proposed 15-foot drainage servitude located on tracks A3A1, A3A2, and A3A3, as shown on the map entitled Drainage Servitude Dedication by Fred J. Cunningham, P.E.P.L.S., dated 7/17/08, attached hereto as Exhibit B, in compliance with the stipulations as set forth by the Ascension Parish Planning Commission as follows. The rerouted drainage system can adequately convey runoff from a minimum 10-year storm, that a permanent continuous 15-foot drainage servitude is established along the new drainage route for maintenance purposes, and that provisions are made to adequately accommodate any drains presently entering the section of ditch that will be backfilled. All other public servitudes as may affect the subject property are hereby reserved.
Motion to open the
Motion to open public hearing. Councilman Lohr, second by Councilman Lambert. Anyone wish to speak on this ordinance, come forward, please.
Motion to close.
Motion closed by Councilman Lohr.
Motion to move the ordinance.
Second by Councilman Cluart. Got a motion for the ordinance by Councilman Lohr.
Second.
Second by Councilman Dempsey Lambert. Any discussion? Ordinance is introduced. Let's go back and pick number 16 up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Number 16. Chairman Bell, I thought you all were going to pass on that item.
I wasn't
Fire-
told that.
It's the fire truck.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
We're not passing on it.
Like that.
Yes, Councilman Johnson, this is the fire truck that Fire District 1 wanted to
Yeah, that's
give
correct.
to
We don't need
Parham's.
to pass on that. The motion is wrong. It's basically, it's something we're going to cancel it altogether. District 3, after has a request of Councilman Shakes and I went back and talked to District 2, and they are going to use that truck. So actually, we don't even need anything. They're going to transfer it from one district to another. It's going to stay in parish property.
Stay as
We
parish.
can do away with that. Yes, sir.
I got a question.
Thank you. Sorry
All
about
right,
that.
Councilman Kluart.
Yeah, Benny, they had we had a fire chief, somebody here tonight that was questioning whether we were gonna, I didn't know we was gonna pass on it. He sat here for probably three
That
quarters.
was Chief
Y'all
Montero
got
in
it?
District
Okay.
2.
All right.
And I think what he was here about was the purchase of that truck that was in the consent agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Which one are you talking about?
Ms. Lindsay, item 22, please.
Whereas the Parish of Ascension, through the Ascension Parish Council under lawful session, passed an ordinance on the 19th day of January 1995 defining and prohibiting noises that interfere with enjoyment of property of public peace and comfort. Whereas the parish now wishes to amend this section, be it hereby ordained that the Ascension Parish Council does hereby authorize the following changes to the ordinance. Amend section 1441 to read as follows. Noises interfering with enjoyment of property or public peace and comfort. No person shall make or cause to be made any loud noise and raucous noise in the parish which is offensive to persons of ordinary sensibilities and which renders the enjoyment of life or property uncomfortable or interferes with public peace and comfort. Delete section 1442 in its entirety. Replace with same enumerated. The following acts, among others, are declared to create loud and raucous noises and shall be deemed a violation of this chapter, but such enumeration shall not be deemed to be exclusive. The use of any abusive, indecent, profane, or vulgar language in a public place, when the language by its very utterance tends to incite an immediate breach of the peace. The playing of any radio, phonograph, tape, compact disc, musical instrument, or any other machine or device capable of producing or reproducing sound from a stationary location in such a manner or with such volume as to disturb the peace, quiet, comfort, or repose of persons in any dwelling, apartment, hotel, or other type of residence, or in any public place. The playing of any radio, phonograph, tape, compact disc, musical instrument, or any other machine or device capable of producing or reproducing sound from which a vehicle in such a manner or with such volume that it can be heard a distance of 30 feet or more away from the vehicle. The sounding of any horn or signal device on any automobile, motorcycle, bus, streetcar, or other vehicle, except as a danger signal as required by state law. The use of any automobile, motorcycle, bus, streetcar, bus, or vehicle so out of repair or so loaded which emits or creates loud grating, grinding, or rattling noise. The blowing of any steam whistle attached to any stationary boiler except to give notice of the time to begin or stop work or as a warning of danger. The discharge into the open air of the exhaust of any stationary steam engine, stationary internal combustion engine, or motorboat engine, except through a muffler or other device which will effectively and efficiently prevent loud noises. The discharge into the open air of the exhaust from any motor vehicle except through a muffler or other device which will effectively and efficiently prevent loud and raucous noises. The creation of loud and raucous noise by construction work in or adjacent to a residential area other than between the hours of 7 a.m. and sunset on weekdays and Saturdays, except in the case of urgent necessity and in the interest of public safety, for which permission must be obtained from the Director of Public Works. Construction work includes, but is not limited to, the erection, excavation, demolition, alteration, or repair of any building. The creation of loud and raucous noise on any street adjacent to any school or court which is in session or adjacent to any hospital, provided that conspicuous signs are located in such streets indicating that schools, hospitals, and courts are adjacent thereto. The shouting and crying of peddlers, hawkers, and vendors which disturbs the quiet and peace of residentially zoned areas. Delete section 1443 in its entirety, replaced with loudspeakers and amplifiers. A person commits an offense if he operates or causes to be operated any mechanical loudspeaker or sound amplifier in a public place or upon any public sidewalk, street, alley, highway of the parish in violation of the following limitations and requirements. No mechanical loudspeaker or sound amplifier may be operated within 150 feet of the property line of the premises of a residence, except between the hours of 8 a.m. and sunset as designated by publication in a local newspaper of general circulation. A mechanical loudspeaker or sound amplifier may not emit unreasonably loud, raucous, jarring, or disturbing noises so as to interfere with the enjoyment of life or property or to interfere with public peace and comfort. A mechanical loudspeaker or sound amplifier must be operated so as not to cause traffic congestion or a congregation of crowds that obstructs any public sidewalk, street, alley, or highway. A mechanical loudspeaker or sound amplifier may not be operated within 150 feet of any hospital, school that is in session, nursing home, or facility that provides surgical services to patients who do not require overnight hospital care during the hours of operation of the facility. In this section, residence means single-family, duplex, or multifamily dwelling. Surgical services means therapy of a mechanical or operative kind, including but not limited to operations involving cutting, the setting of fractures and dislocations, and similar manual forms of treatment. If conduct that would otherwise violate this section consists of speech or other communication, of gathering with others to hear or observe such speech or communication, or of gathering with others to picket or otherwise express in a nonviolent manner a position on social, economic, political, or religious questions, the person must be ordered to move, disperse, or otherwise remedy the violation prior to arrest or citation. The order required by subsection C may be given by a peace officer, fireman, a person with authority to control the use of the premises, or any person directly affected by the violation. It is a defense to prosecution under subsection A that, in circumstances in which this section requires an order, no order was given. An order, if given, was manifestly unreasonable in scope. An order, if given, was promptly obeyed. The mechanical loudspeaker or sound amplifier was operated in a public place with an enclosed structure. It was not audible beyond the property line of the premises on which it was located. The person operating the mechanical loudspeaker or sound amplifier was a law enforcement officer, a member of the fire department in the performance of official duties. The mechanical loudspeaker or sound amplifier was operated for the purpose of alerting persons to the existence of an emergency or danger, or the mechanical loudspeaker or sound amplifier was operated in the performance of emergency work necessary to restore public utilities, to restore property to a safe condition, or to protect persons or property from imminent danger following a fire, accident, or natural disaster. Sections 14-44 and 14-45, variances and exceptions and penalties shall remain the same.
Motion to open the public hearing, Mr.
Motion to
Chairman.
open public hearing by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Johnson. Anyone wish to speak on this ordinance, please come forward.
Motion to close.
Motion to close by Councilman Lambert, second by Councilman Benny Johnson.
Moved to ordinance.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Benny Johnson, second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Any discussion? Any objection? Ordinance is approved. I'll need a motion to go into executive session, please, by Councilman Randy Kluart, second by Councilman Johnson. I'll need a roll call, please.
Mr.
Chair.
Bell?
Is Ricky here? Who's?
I don't think,
Mr. Babin's not
I don't
here.
think
here.
council's
No.
here. We don't have anybody explain it to us, so.
Okay. Before we get to item 26, I'll give you all, and I'm sure most of you have talked to him, an update on Councilman Cullen. Came home yesterday, doing very well. Talked to him tonight before we came into the chambers. He was huffing and puffing a little bit, been out on his 5-minute walk, but he's rehabbing, doing well, and he hopes to join us soon.
Mr. Chairman, I have an item that I'd really pleased to let you know. After much too long, today we opened the bridge on West Worthy. The road is now
Yes, sir. Congratulations. Thank you, sir.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Todd Lambert makes the motion to adjourn, second by Councilman Shakespeare.